Good afternoon. It's 2 p.m. I call this meeting to order. We have a quorum present. Do we have any guest speakers?
Yes, we have guests, not necessarily speakers, but we do have guests.
We have guests present.
Our first guest is Misha Farrell. She's our architect for the main library. We also have Chris Kirkley here, who is the branch manager of the main library. We have Jeff Empson, who is the area manager for the main library. And we have Greg Frith. Greg has been here before, but I'm not sure if he's been formally introduced. Greg is our area manager for information technology.
Very good, thank you.
Okay. Wait, we have one more.
Okay.
We'd like to introduce formally the new Executive Secretary, Ann Womack.
Welcome.
We're glad to have her on board.
Great, great. Thank you. At this time, we will pause for a moment of meditation. Thank you. Do we have any public comments? At this time, I would like to entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Murray, seconded by Ms. Maggie. All those in favor of approving the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. This time we move into unfinished business. Approval of the budget for the capital improvement project at the main branch.
Okay, I will just say to start, included in your packet, you received a tentative schedule of the work. Of course, that's probably going to change. You have enough, oh, we did change?
Yes.
Okay. So Misha has a copy of the changed tentative schedule. And you also received a copy of the opinion of probable cost that shows you the work and how much it's going to cost to take care of that. And Misha, if there's more you want to add,
I do
go
have,
ahead.
I do have an updated one as well. We are, because of many unknown prices right now.
Does she need to be at a mic?
Can you hear me okay?
For the streaming.
Okay,
Are you going to go to the podium or you want to?
sure. What do you all prefer?
You can use that.
If
That's
I can
fine.
use this, would be great.
Yes, ma'am. As
Okay.
long as you're speaking to the mic, that's fine.
So, you know, I do have more of an updated schedule. We kind of needed, we need to approve the scope change and the budget. Is it on?
No,
Thanks. Yes, we need to approve the scope change and the budget because it's changed a bit over time. And we can kind of follow along why we're where we are right now, which is fine. We're moving along steady. My opinion of probable cost will probably continue to get refined. We threw in some new numbers based on answers that I've been getting from that March 14th meeting, which I thought that you all might appreciate the meeting notes because we really comprehensively went through your insurance, which you got two sets of plans. You got a set of plans that showed insurance and what it was paying for, what you guys are responsible for, and there's going to be some trade out, which is overall good news for you all because a lot of things that we were going to have to take care of are taken care of by insurance. So we've identified specifically where you guys are going to be liable for something. We went through the scope on what we want to add to this project while we're spending money on the library. Now, with any building project, you can spend as much as you possibly have, but we've tried to outline sort of where we are. Your furnishings budget also is going to change. I did talk to Danelle Wrightson yesterday morning about the furniture, and she wants to come and have a meeting with the library to go over our selections, make sure our upholstery is still available if needed. She said most of the times that thing goes out, those kind of things go out of production pretty quickly. So she was thinking about doing that, wrapping that into the next board meeting that you have, which I will give more a visual presentation instead of what you've got today. I think that that's about where I am unless you all have questions for me.
So you said again, we have an updated timeline that you will provide for us?
Sure, yeah,
Okay.
and it still has question marks because, and I'm sorry that I didn't get this copy for you. But everything's kind of set where when this happens down the road. There's one big unknown, which is when we hand the bid package in, which we are right now projecting the first week of June for the bid package to be sent to the city for their front end to be prepared. That's the unknown, because the front end has to go through so many hands before it's released to be advertised. And so anybody that has some influence with the city department that does that, that's great. It's like the faster we can make that happen, the faster we can get it bid. And so that all kind of trickles down the line. But I've got the city front end starts the process June 4th. I'm sorry, I looked at this. And that means that if they can do it in a month, which I sure hope they can, then we could have our first advertisement for bid on July 8th. That means the bid opening, because it has to be advertised for 30 days, could be on August 7th, usually a Tuesday or Thursday, so I'll have to check that day. And then the city will have to negotiate with the contractor, the successful bidder, and make sure they've got all their documents in order. At that point, if that can take place in a month, which I've seen it happen, then the contract signed with the successful bidder on September 6th, and then they can, oh, I've got the wrong date here. I'm sorry, I've got something that's out of date on this one. So I'm glad I didn't pass it out to you guys. Anyway, contract can be successfully signed on the 1st of September. And then I'm thinking 9 months for the whole project. And one thing that I did want to tell you all is that I think it's important to phase the project. So we were going to tackle the basement first. And that way, you can use it as storage for when we've moved to the first and second floors. And so, but keeping the same contractor the whole time. That way we don't have to mobilize again. We have one contract for them. We're just going to put it out to bid, say, phase your work to where you start with the basement. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I would have handed this out, but I do sound like an error. So.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Of course, we have Southern universities waiting to be able to use it. Will it be usable at any point in time when you phase it and they're on certain floors? Is there any way that can be done, or is it not?
Yes, I think so. And this is one thing I've talked about with my team is I said we'll do the basement first, but we also need to do things to the stairwells. And so it's important that people are on those upper floors that they have absolute access to the stairs. So we might say do the stairs and the basement first. And that's to make them more code compliant. We can never make those stairs into a different space than they're in. So we are having to rely on a certain chapter in the code to say, please forgive us, these are old stairs, but we will do the best we can to make them less of a tripping hazard. But so basement stairs first, that way Southern would have proper access. We can make a pathway for them to get to the elevator. And so we'll have to negotiate that with the contractor. Say, okay, how can you clear a path for the public to be able to come through just for that purpose?
Any other questions?
Well, I just want to add that
Yes, ma'am.
we need to keep in mind that what we're talking about is only the basement, first and second floors. Southern will have some renovation work to do as well to the third and fourth floors as a result. And we don't have any information, about what they're planning to do.
Yeah, I'm glad you explained that. That's what I was thinking about, is how they can coordinate, as far as that. I thought we were actually doing that. Construction involved that also. This contract would not involve that. So when would we be able to allow them to be able to do their work? Because that was a discussion last week, is that if they're able to begin doing their work as soon as possible, even why would we let them go ahead and do it so they can be ready to start operating in get everything back in order, you know, and then continue on with our process. There's no reason why they shouldn't be working at the same time. We've got two different contractors that are doing the work.
I mean, if the plan is for them to reoccupy those spaces, I don't see why, you know, when they're ready to start, I don't see why they can't, if the plan is to move forward.
But I heard the discussion, maybe I'm thinking wrong, that they were thinking it would be, I think we talked about times and dates for them to begin, and it seemed like it was off to 2027.
Yeah,
That's
when-
not, was that their doing or
No, I
ours?
think that was when they could start the
Face to
classes,
face,
yeah.
face, but,
I think so, but they also they were, the more of the concern was, I think, the chancellor of the law center was thinking that that was more along the lines of the building being ready. And so I think we need to coordinate to make sure that's not what they were thinking. If they can get started on there and get started sooner, why wouldn't we allow them to go ahead and do that and get their program going?
So we need to,
John,
yes.
Can I say
I'm sorry,
something?
yes.
I thought, Reggie, when we was talking then, I thought they said in 26, they wanted to bring little, not the whole class and bring in people that may be working and trying to get things set, and they wanted to start their main classes in 27.
But maybe
But I thought they wanted to,
that may be it, but I just want to make sure that right now, that, you know, we got issues associated with whether or not they can actually work through this cooperative endeavor agreement. And so we got some delays there. We don't want the delays to be ours, unless it be theirs. And so we need to go ahead and see if we can get that set up where if they need to get people in there, they need to go ahead and start doing their construction, do what they need to do if we're not in their way.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Maggie.
Are the
then Ms.
furnishings for everything in the building, and who selects the furnishings, and will they go with the architect of the?
Danelle Wrightson is our consultant on that. She's worked on many Shreve Memorial Libraries projects, and she has selected the furniture. She's assisting us with furniture that we are keeping. For instance, we're keeping some of the shelving. If we want end panels on them, that's something that she can help us do, but, sorry about that. But yeah, so she's the one that selects the furniture. She's our interior designer, basically. She's an architect as well.
Ms. Fortenberry?
Southern can't get started on construction on the third and fourth floor without working very closely with us on planning, because it's a matter of, they've got to paint this wall, we got to paint those two, and then they paint that section, and then we paint over here. We've got to decide on a plan where do we use the same contractor? Do we go out for bid? Do we have our architect go ahead and draw up something that we could go out for bid for the renovation of the third and fourth floors? But because we're so integrated with them, the way this turned out with the insurance, we've got to have the understanding that they're going to pay for their part. You know, do we pay for everything and they reimburse us when we're done? So we use one contractor. Those are big questions, and up until before the walkthrough, they weren't even really talking to us on any level.
So I understand that a conversation took place recently. We are going to schedule a follow-up conversation, and we will address these issues, timelines, trigger points, so that we can ensure that we are all literally on the same page, and that both our goal and Southern's goals are met, hopefully concurrently. But I think it's very obvious we need to have some follow-up conversations with them and their team.
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
and I think what was, with the meeting we had the other day, I think the new chancellor wanted to see it for himself. And that's the reason they walked through with everybody, we had, me and Reggie was there, and walked through, and he wanted to see for himself what it looked like. And that's when, and then he wanted to know if we really want, back with them. But look like, I agree with you, it look like either we gonna have one contractor or two contractors. They need to know what they need, we need to meet,
Well,
make sure they do all that.
There's reimbursements associated. I would suggest it definitely needs to be one contractor.
That's me
Get that
too.
done.
I agree to that.
Or we're gonna have a battle between them.
Yeah.
Also, they were very excited. One thing they didn't know was that was formerly a federal courthouse. And, which makes it great for a law
Really
center
excited.
to be able to say it's held here, which was a former federal courthouse, we had a parish for the entire district, you know, so, which is great. We ought to have some memorabilia around, should go in there, that would be great to make that clear that this is the federal courthouse at one point in time.
Thank you, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Just to say, I agree with, finding out if that new one contractor.
Yes, ma'am.
Reimbursed.
Right, you need
Absolutely. So, I will certainly initiate a conversation to schedule a time for this board and the appropriate personnel from Southern to get together.
All right, the question I have about would be the fact that it's in litigation and whether or not this requires or needs to have lawyers involved, so there's no question about what's theirs and what's ours, and we need to get it in writing so that we know exactly where we are as to who's paying what and when. I understand the insurance company is really a jointly insurance company that was both of ours at the same time, right? From this agreement.
What's your question?
About the insurance company that involved in this. Is there one insurance company?
No, they don't have an insurance company per se. The state of Louisiana is all self-insured. And so they have $300,000 worth of responsibility for damages because they improved things. They put up walls or they painted walls or whatever, and that became their responsibility once they did that. And then we have the rest of the responsibility on the third and fourth floors. They can't start without us, we can't start without them, and it's all tied up in litigation. That's the big holdup.
Well, that's the reason why I said we need to have the lawyers involved, not just us. And we probably need to sideline with it, but we gotta have it pretty much cleared out as to the page what we're in. And it needs to be documented and it needs to be signed off by somebody. I'm talking about, so, we know how to sign off, but we can sign off to make sure that we're clear on what they're gonna pay for.
For clarification, when you say we can't start without them and they can't start without us, are you referencing the work on the third and fourth floors?
Yes, I'm referencing only the third and fourth floor.
So, basement and
In the
the
first and
previous
second
statement,
floors,
that it is possible to do that
Yes.
prior to. But again, we certainly want to make sure that everything is synchronized and done in an appropriate manner.
Can I ask you a question? I know, because I don't know, and I'm just asking. The part that we're doing, the basement and the first floor, first and second floor, is all that we're approving as far as the work?
At this time.
Okay, so why are we coordinating with them on the third and fourth floor?
Because those are the floors that Southern occupied and renovated and may end up using again. Those are the floors that they
Okay, but
have.
that's the reason why I'm asking. If we've got a bid, do the basement and first and second floor, why are we making it all together then that we deal with the third and fourth floor at the same time?
We were just saying, that if they want to do it simultaneously, start working on the third and fourth to get their part done while we're working on the basement 1 and 2, we'll have to have some type of agreement before they can move forward on third and fourth, if they want to do it simultaneously while we're working.
I think that, personally, I believe that complicates things,
Yes.
because when you do that, that means that we gotta agree on when we start and all of that, and whether they're gonna have their money together when they get ready to do their part is another issue. I think what we need to do is make certain that we tell them that this is where we're moving forward, and y'all can start at any moment getting your things together to start doing your work. You know, if there's a wall or two that needs to be painted, that we need to paint, we'll figure out a way to do that. You know, but I don't think we should limit ourselves, because if we get in the middle of trying to figure it out, we got all these lawyers involved, we got a problem, because the person is not going to ever agree on anything.
And at this point, we don't know, we didn't We don't have a definitive answer as to whether or not they will, you know, utilize those boards again. They're excited and they want to, but at this time, we don't know like a definitive answer.
So there were comments made about, you know, making certain that everyone was, you know, taking care of, mending our relationship, put it like that. Okay, that was said many times.
Right.
The other day, and so I think that certainly we need to have that meeting, have that discussion, and do all of that. But I just don't believe that we need to have our contract tied up with the third and fourth floor. We need to do what we gotta do, or we'll never get it done.
Exactly.
You know, we'll be waiting till litigation is over 10 years from now. And we don't want to do
It's
that.
the cost of the government long enough. I think it's time for us to.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's all I have.
Thank you, we appreciate that, Ms. Evans. Any other questions, comments, concerns? So at this time, if there are no more questions, we want to vote on the current recommended amendment so that we are prepared to move forward with the project as it's been laid out and discussed by our architect. So if there are no more questions.
I have one
Yes, sir.
question. If we have the money in the budget to do it, and, you know, as far as, you know, that's, we're okay on the funds.
We have the money, Ms. Forbear, if you want to.
Yes, James Lee and I have determined that we do have money in the capital budget appropriated for this.
I know Ms. Lee keeps up with money.
He does.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Appreciate that. All right, thank you.
Every penny.
All right, any other questions? I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the amended budget for the capital improvement project for the downtown library.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Murray, second by Ms. Wade. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, the motion carries. It has been approved. Can we get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
May I make
Ms. Bell?
yeah, my announcement is this, I just want you all to please pray for the family, for the lady lost her 2 children, grandmother and great-grandmother. The babies attend school Turner in my district. And just pray for her, because she's kind of blaming herself in a way, because the babies, they were staying with them for the weekend with the grandparents, with the grandmother. And she lived right next to Turner. And when she went by to pick them up after work, they said they wanted to stay, so she said, okay, y'all can stay. And then she kind of said, well, maybe I picked them up or something, but really it's not, you know. So y'all pray for her, because the funeral gonna be next Saturday at 1 o'clock. She's burying the 2 babies and her mother. And the next week, she's gonna bury her great-grandmother. So y'all pray for her, please.
Thank you, Ms. Bell.
Okay.
There are no other comments. There's been motion and second. All those in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, meeting adjourned. Thank you.